All right. Well, all my lovely audience, all the delegates, all the lovely guests who are sitting here, a very, very good morning to each one of you. I'm Smriti Kamra, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you to the second day of the fourth edition of India Gold and Jewelry Summit, organized by the Gem and Jewelry Export Promotion Council, supported by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. India Gold and Jewelry Summit 2024 is organized in association with the World Gold Council, refinery partner MMTC PAMP, bullion partner Diamond India Limited DIL, co-partner ECGC, Fisher and SBI, and the supported by National Gems and Jewelry Council of India. Well, India Gold and Jewelry Summit is one of the initiative started by GJEPC in 2017, an annual congregation designed as a premier platform uniting key stakeholders from both government bodies and the trade sectors. The gathering served as a critical forum for deliberating on prevailing issues and challenging encountered within the gem, gold, and jewelry sector by fostering dialogue and alignment between the entities. The summit contributes significantly to the substantial growth and evolution of gold industry. So hope you are ready for an engaging and insightful second day of this summit. Well, a very warm welcome once again. Before we start, I would like to get some energy in the room, and we should start with a huge round of applause. Come on, everybody, let's give it up for our fourth edition of India Gold and Jewelry Summit. Well, to begin this wonderful morning formally, I would like to invite on stage Dr. Naval Kishore Agrawal, convener, Jewelry Panel, GJEPC, to come on stage for the welcome address. Let's have a huge round of applause for him.
Good morning and warm welcome to the second day of Gold and Jewelry Summit 2024. Today we have dignitaries with us, Mr. Santosh Sarangi Sahab, DGFT, Government of India. We have Sri Siddharth Singh. He served Ministry of Commerce as Joint Secretary, and he was instrumental in helping Gem and Jewelry Export Promotion Council when he was there in the ministry in a long way. And he's still serving council as a proud member of our IIGJ board. So he's still continuing giving the services to the council. Respected Chairman Vipul Shah, Kirit Bhai Vansali, Sabyasachi Ray, ED, Executive Director, all COA members, Regional Chairman, Chairman of National Gem and Jewelry Council, Sri Pramod Agarwal, Madam Rupa Datta ji, all other invited guests, panelists, industry friends, media, press, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and very warm welcome to the second day of the India Gold and Jewelry Summit 2024. Yesterday, the sessions were both insightful and fruitful, with industry's experts sharing details, perspective through dialogues, discussions, and presentations on the crucial topics such as leveraging the India-UAE SEPA for the export growth. The other topic was raising India's competitiveness through design and innovation, and securing the supply of gold through digitization. Today, we promise even more enlightening discussions and valuable conversations. As we are lineup of speakers and panelists addressing topics like raising compliances through responsible reporting in India, independent stores and organized retail, a sustainable coexistence, and raising compliances through responsible sourcing globally. As we all know, India is recognized as a rapidly expanding jewelry consumer market, experiences substantial growth driven by the nation's increasing GDP and rising disposable income level. The thriving economy plays a significant role in shaping the preference and purchasing power of the Indian consumers in the jewelry sector. The retail gem and jewelry market in India has reached almost $70 billion, and this is showcasing a very remarkable growth. And the projections for 1930s more than double, approximately 145 billion. Simultaneously, the India's export has also gone to 40 billion and is poised to reach $75 billion by 2030. These figures underscore the dynamic and promising nature of the Indian jewelry industry, both in terms of domestic and international market. The sector holds intense opportunities, and by implementing appropriate gold policies, the Indian gold industry is positioned to thrive, generating numerous job opportunities and making a substantial contribution to the country's economy. Achieving this will necessitate collaborative efforts from the trade bodies, the government, and the other stakeholders within the industry. To meet this growth demand, it is crucial to focus on ease of doing business, ensuring the availability of raw material, nurturing skilled artisans, streamlining the process, and adhering the compliance standard. This in turn will enhance consumer confidence and trust not only domestically but also on a global scale. India is actively working towards these goals, and we are confident that our contribution will play a substantial role in realizing India's dream of achieving a $5 trillion economy soon. As I conclude, I extend my best wishes to all for productive and enlightening second day of the GEM of today's India Gold and Jewelry Summit 2024. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Naval, for addressing us and making this morning even more exciting. I'm sure everyone is truly looking forward to this great sessions which are coming ahead. But before that, we would like to felicitate some of the most important guests that we have here with us today. To address, first of all, I would like to invite Mr. Santosh Kumar Sarangi, DGFT, Ministry of Commerce and India, Government of India. And to felicitate him, I would like to invite on stage GJEPC Chairman, Mr. Vipul Shah, to come on stage and felicitate Mr. Santosh Kumar Sarangi, DGFT, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. Let's have a huge round of applause and let's welcome Mr. Santosh Kumar Sarangi. A very warm welcome, sir. Thank you so much for your presence. Let's have a big hand. Once again, sir, thank you so much for your presence and gracing this wonderful occasion. And now, I would like to invite Mr. Kirit Bansali, Vice Chairman, GJEPC, to please kindly come on stage and felicitate Mr. Siddharth, ex-Joint Secretary, Ministry of Commerce in India, Government of India. Can we please have Mr. Kirit Bansali to please join us on stage to felicitate Mr. Siddharth, ex-Joint Secretary, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. Let's have a big hand and let's welcome them. Thank you so very much, sir, for joining us. Also, sir, we would like to thank Mr. Siddharth, our ex-Joint Secretary, sir, for his immense support and contribution to the Council. Thank you so much, sir. This journey has been incredibly amazing. Thank you so much. And now I would like to invite Mrs. Rupa Datta, Principal Economic Advisor, DPIIT, to please join me on stage and share her thoughts about this wonderful day and what she thinks about the raise in the goal's role in economic growth. What is her opinion? Let's know from her. A very warm welcome, Mrs. Rupa Datta.
Good morning, everyone. Uh, it's a very cold and foggy morning, so many thanks to all of you who have joined us for this Gem and Jewellery, this summit being organized by GGPC. And I would like to start by saying that it's such a pleasure to see Siddharth sir here, the person with whom we started the Gem and Jewellery journey. I learned so much from him, and also Santosh Sarangi, who is an old friend and who has been DGFT for a long time, and before that, Joint Secretary in Department of Commerce. I would like to thank GGPC for giving me this opportunity. I was lucky to be associated with this sector for 5 years. And then I moved to DPIIT, but the association continued because it was a sister department. And this is a very fascinating sector. Lot of issues, lot of highs and lows, but still a lot of things to be done in this regard. I would not take a long time because some of it, what I'll say, would be known to all of you, and some of the areas which we have always been mentioning, even when we were working together, whether with Siddharth sir or Anup Vadhavan and others, I would like to just mention them and highlight a few of them. Firstly, as we know, that the exports from this sector has been hovering around 40 billion, and I think last year it was around 37 billion, which is about 9% of India's total merchandise exports. This figure is to be 14 to 16%. It's high time that we focus more on gem and jewellery exports. It's a bread and butter of GGPC, as I used to tell them, and see how we can improve exports in different areas. This sector provides livelihood to 5 million people. And the gold, which is the key theme of today's summit, the exports are around 9.4 billion. We all know how good our craftsman work is. India is one of the oldest and largest manufacturers of handmade gold jewellery. It's also the largest consumer and importer of gold. Import of gold hovers around 800 to 900 tons every year. of which a 10 to 12% is used for exports. A separate chapter in the foreign trade policy has been dedicated to this sector. And while there is no specific gold policy, but there have been several steps taken by government for promoting this sector and exports. In 2022, this factor was mentioned by Som also yesterday. The global exports of gold jewelry reached 113 billion. India's share was about 8 to 9%. India is the fourth largest exporter of gold, and following major players such as China, UAE, and Switzerland. So, in industry's goal is to achieve total exports of $75 billion by 2030. And friends, we are looking at a $32 trillion economy by 2047. So all sectors would have to do well, including gem and jewelry, which has to move up the value chain and focus more on manufacturing, quality control, and other issues. Now here, I would just like to mention, before I come to a few specific points, that government has been taking many steps. I will not go into all these. And this entire summit is a platform for having discussions on various issues. Some of the key issues which we feel is very critical, one is the hallmarking. Hallmarking was made mandatory from 16 June 2021. Hallmarking provides consumers with a third-party assurance regarding the purity and finesse of gold jewelry. And the hallmark unique identification is a 6-digit alphanumeric code. Now we are also, I have a copy of draft SOPs for even gold bullion, for hallmarking of gold bullion. Now, why hallmarking becomes important is in the context of QCOs. The QCOs have been playing, and this I'm speaking from the DPIT perspective, the quality control orders have been playing a very key role in our exports as well as domestic manufacturing. We know, and there have been stories made where it is said that as a result of QCOs on toys issued in February 2020, import of this category has declined by 54% and exports have increased by 36%. So the need for QCOs for, for hallmarking of jewelry as well as in future bullion becomes very important. The second step is which government has done is increasing duty drawback rates. The duty drawback rates on gold and silver have been revised and increased by Union Ministry of Finance. For gold from 431 to 704 per gram, and for silver from 4,105.6 to rupees 8,949 per kg. This step is expected to benefit the gem and jewelry industry by allowing exporters to receive higher returns on duty and taxes. Some other critical steps which have been taken for this sector, some of it Vipul Bhai also mentioned yesterday. One is the India-UAE CIPA. There has been a notable rise in gold jewelry exports to UAE. India's exports have surged by 47% during the 6 months of April to November 2023, and a bigger growth is expected. And with upcoming FTAs like UK, Europe, GCC, and Oman, it's expected that gem and jewelry sector would find its avenues, look at how to increase exports, and be again, form about 14 to 16% of our entire export basket. Some of the other critical measures taken, some by GGPC and some by Government of India. GGPC has set up the Indian Jewellery Exposition Center in Dubai, which serves as a dedicated B2B platform, providing GGPC members with an opportunity to exhibit their products. Another key step, where the Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, inaugurated the Bharat Ratnam Mega Common Facility Center in SEEPS in Mumbai on January 12th. And I think Siddharth sir will also remember the initial CFCs we had started with common facility centers. 4 of them were set up in Gujarat, where the idea was that government would give a first amount of 2 to 3 crores, and then there would be agreements with the local diamond associations, and they would become self-sustaining. The smaller exporters who could not access the larger machines would come, pay user charges, and use these facilities. They were all of them doing very well. There have been other CFCs set up in other parts of the country. Some of it got badly affected during COVID, but we feel that these are areas which have a good potential for improving. The Bharat Ratnam Mega CFC is a similar concept which provides end-to-end solutions, integration of cutting-edge technologies, and focusing on technology, techniques, and training, providing CAD/CAM designs, 3D printings, etc. Another critical step which was taken, and this was inaugurated by the then HCIM, is establishing a jewellery park in Navi Mumbai, which now is targeting for a completion of next 3 years. This will also have end-to-end solutions, right from skill development to designing of jewellery till the actual marketing. And this expects, the employment generated is expected to be around 1 lakh workers, besides, of course, a huge multiplier effect. There is another, a key initiative has been the India International Bullion Exchange for transformation of the Indian gold industry. IIBX has been conceptualized to provide a gateway to import bullion into India and provide world-class bullion exchange ecosystem. And for the first time, an Indian resident jeweler can import bullion directly into India through IIBX. Besides these, the usual measures which have been mentioned in different forums, I would like to mention that the whole idea of this summit was to use gold as a means for improving economic growth. Some of the other key measures which have been taken by government but which need a lot more leverage is one is popularizing the sovereign gold bond scheme, looking at gold as financial products, and finally an integration of the ODOP, GI, e-commerce and ONDC steps being taken by both Department of Commerce and DPIIT. The sovereign gold bond scheme, we know, there are issues of, innovative features are collateral tradability, commission structure, surveillance, quality and enforcement, quality assurance, etc. However, I know there are mindset issues and there are issues regarding, depositing of heirloom jewellery and all, but steps are being taken to address these issues. We have this huge amount of gold deposits lying in the country. There have been several papers written, several measures suggested. This is one way of bringing out the gold and using it for productive purposes. Similar is the gold-backed financial products. The introduction of gold ETFs in 2007 marked a significant shift, and these can also act as diverse investment ventures. So basically, we need to look at how to monetize gold. This conference, one of the purposes is this: how to monetize gold, how to bring it out from the locus of the domestic sector, and how to use it for more productive purposes. Because gold and overall jewellery sector has to play a critical role, even as part of manufacturing, for India to become a developed country by 2047. The final point I would like to mention is, this was also mentioned in the Board of Trade, is how do we integrate the ODOP scheme, the One District, One Product scheme of DPIIT, and the GI scheme, which provides for trademarks. There has been trademarking of some jewellery, jewellery from some places, but we are also looking now at GI for Kolkata jewellery and similar new innovative measures. How to integrate it with the e-commerce scenario, which Santosh had given a big presentation during the BOT, and how the post offices and others are becoming part of it. Several steps have already been taken while I was part of the sector, and I know this has improved beyond that. But there would be issues of risk management system and creating of SOPs, etc. And also looking at the ONDC, the platform being created by DPIIT, how all these can come together, look at improved quality and promote exports, improve the role of gem and jewellery in the domestic manufacturing sector, and improve employment. I will just end by one more sentence, which was always my favorite sentence. We also have to move up the value chain. The gold jewellery in diamonds, largely still cut and polished diamond, but studded diamond jewellery is playing a bigger role. Similarly, for gold jewelry, the studded jewelry, especially that appealing to the millennials of today, because they are not very fond of buying heavy jewelry. And the kind of jewelry which is exported generally tends to be appealing to the traditional NRIs and all. So, but for this generation, the millennial generation, while steps are being taken, but the challenge remains of developing good quality jewelry which appeals across all sectors and which again moves up the value chain and helps in promoting exports. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to request you to please kindly come back on stage and would like to invite Dr. Naval Kishore Agarwal to please come up on stage and present a bouquet of flowers and memento to Mrs. Rupa Datta. Ma'am, we had a wonderful session with you. Thank you so much for this insightful session. And now we would like to thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let's have a round of applause for her. Thank you so much. Moving on ahead, up next, I would like to invite Mr. Santosh Kumar Sarangi, DGFT, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, to please kindly come up on stage and address us. Thank you so much.
A very good morning to all of you. Mr. Vipul Shah, Sabyasachi, my erstwhile senior colleague, Mr. Siddharth, Rupa Dattaji, and all the friends who have joined us today. Unlike Mrs. Rupa Datta or my erstwhile senior colleague, Mr. Siddharth, my exposure to gems and jewelry is a little limited. Although as DGFT, I have been interacting with a lot of you and have been hearing issues. But unlike them, I have not worked in this sector as such, but I have a bird's eye view and I am familiar with most of the issues that confront the gems and jewelry segment. And I am also familiar of some great entrepreneurs who have done significant works both in gold and diamond segment and have brought laurels to the country. We are one of the largest, I think we are the largest buyer of gold in the world, and our buying power should lead to a bit of streamlining in the gold prices and the availability of gold as well. I know that the gold demand in India is quite fragmented. There are large jewelers, there are very small jewelers. The demand can vary from a kg, half kg to multiple kgs and tons, but the way it has to be made available would require a lot of streamlining. Rupa Dattaji mentioned about IIBX as a potential platform which could potentially address this issue. And on this, Finance Minister had a long meeting yesterday only at NDMC Convention Center with RBI, with all the banks, including both Indian as well as foreign banks. I hope that over a period of time, the RBI would allow our Indian banks to become trading members in the IIBX, which will also allow them to buy and sell gold. Buying and selling of gold requires deep pockets and very deep risk management ability. So, ensuring that banks have the capability to do hedging and do their risk management in a manner in which exposure to gold trading doesn't very adversely affect their core banking function is something on which RBI, IIBX and the banks are working together to find a solution. So whether the banks themselves will do it, whether a subsidiary of theirs, like they have life insurance, they have SBI cap, which is invested in stock market, but these are not directly impacting the core banking segment of SBI. So similarly, what kind of solution will come up which will address this is something which is being discussed among the groups, among the financial institutions, and hopefully RBI will come out with a solution in the next couple of days. As far as the gold export is concerned and jewelry exports are concerned, Rupa Datta ji has already mentioned that we are the fourth largest. We have a lot of potential in terms of ensuring that the best designs are available. But going forward, one would expect India, given the kind of skill which we have, given the kind of entrepreneurial ability which our young people possess, and given the creativity which is there in India, we should actually aspire to become the #1 exporter of gold jewelry. If you look at Switzerland, what is it that differentiates Switzerland from us? It is their ability to be creative, to cater to the Western tastes, and to do intensive branding, which has put brands like Cartier, Bulgari as top of the brands, as the most niche segments in the gold and diamond jewelry segment. And it is not only the branding in gold and jewelry, but in a variety of things, starting from frames for the glasses, eyeglasses, to bags and a host of other things. So we need one or two such champions in India who are investing in creative designs which are required to the Western world, required for the Western world, and also investing in brand building, brand promotion. So this is an area in which I think Department of Commerce, JJPC and top 2-3 brands need to work together as to how we do our branding strategy and position ourselves as one of the top suppliers and value added supplier of gold jewelry. I believe in the yesterday's meeting you had an export segment where people talked of a lot of issues. Before I left for this meeting, Kapil Chaudhary, who is the JS drawback, she gave me a heads up on the discussion which had happened yesterday. So these are areas in which both DGFT and drawback division in revenue and the DG export promotion division in revenue will have to work together to find a solution. So on this, I can assure that along with GJPC, our gems and jewelry division in DOC, we will work with revenue to find what kind of solutions could be possible for issues confronting many of you, including IGCR related rules, which is making it difficult for small players to fully utilize the tariff rate quota which has been provided for UAE. But India UAE SEPA has been a good beginning for many of you, and I was looking at the offtake of TRQ, which has exponentially increased vis-a-vis previous years, and correspondingly our export of jewelry to UAE has also gone up. A lot of it is also happening using the advance authorization routes, and we are also working to ensure that in the advance authorization routes things are streamlined and people are able to get jewelry without facing too much of hassles. There have been a lot of facilitation which has been done. Rupa Datta ji spoke about the Bharatam Mandapam, and there are also initiatives like India Jewellery Exposition Center in Dubai, which has been initiative of GJEPC to provide a platform to our small and medium sector jewelers to interact with buyers abroad, especially in the Gulf countries. Similarly, India Jewellery Park, Mumbai, mega facility center within SIBS, Mumbai, all of these will be helping our exporters in future. As far as the DGFT is concerned, I can assure you that we have dedicated a separate portion in chapter 4 for gems and jewelry segment and for gold and diamond exporters. So we would be happy to address some of the other obstacles that you would be facing under our FTP for increasing the exports from India. But going forward, I hope that our gems and jewelry exporters would use their creativity, use their skill, use their entrepreneurial spirit to use technology in a much bigger manner. Going forward, the use of CAD and CAM in technology, the use of artificial intelligence in getting designs, sourcing designs, and also displaying it to the customer in a virtual environment would be getting used by our jewelers in a much bigger fashion. In this, I will request Gems and Jewelry EPC to take the lead in creating a virtual exhibition center which is able to present the new designs, new jewelries in a three-dimensional environment to the customers abroad, and to that extent help our small and medium level jewelers to display their products and get purchase orders from abroad. So an initiative on this, we will be happy to support it under MAI scheme of DOC, but the lead for this I would request GJPC to initiate and create a virtual exhibition center from India which can be used by both gold and diamond exporters from within our country. The second area in use of technology will have to be in use of e-commerce. Rupa Datta ji was pointing out that e-commerce is going to grow pretty big in future. Right now, the cross-border e-commerce handles about 6% of our total merchandise exports. In course of time, this is only going to grow bigger. The current estimate of e-commerce export using e-commerce platforms for cross-border transaction is about $800 billion. There are estimates which are suggesting this to go to $2 trillion by 2030. That is 2000 billion by 2030. A significant portion of this $2 trillion will be gems and jewelry segment, which is a high value segment, but which can leverage e-commerce in a much bigger way. So this is an area where I would expect our good creative jewelry manufacturers to take leverage of e-commerce exports and increase their exports. The consignment value for e-commerce export earlier was about 5 lakh. In the last FTP, we have increased it to 10 lakhs. So consignments up to value of 10 lakhs can easily be exported now. If there are gems and jewelry exporters who have done exports nearer to that 10 lakhs, and if they want it to be increased, we will also be happy to increase that limit and facilitate higher value added exports of jewelry from India. So on these issues, both use of technology for becoming more creative and use of technology to display it to overseas buyers or consumers, customers directly in a virtual environment is something in which we will expect Gems and Jewelry division to take the initiative. Commerce department would fully back them in this initiative. And the second is in e-commerce exports. And on this, I would expect GJAPC to organize 4 to 5 outreach programs in our interior areas of the country where we have gems and jewelry clusters, but they have not initiated e-commerce. So how to onboard e-commerce platform, how to use the various facilities. These are areas in which we have started working in a big way. So our DGFT team and along with all the e-commerce platforms like Amazon, eBay, ShopClues, ShipRocket, all of them will be present in those outreach campaigns. So I will invite GJEPC to organize in 4 to 5 locations in different parts of the country and make our gems and jewelry exporters familiar with the potential, the huge potential of e-commerce going forward. If there are issues relating to export promotion activities for gems and jewelry segment, where either foreign trade policy or specific areas of Department of Revenue which are impeding it, then I am happy to get a feedback and then work with Department of Revenue to address some of these issues. Congratulations again for this summit and glad that I am part of this. Thank you very much.
Mr. Santosh, I would like to request you to please kindly join us back on stage to have a wonderful conversation with Miss Manisha Gupta, who is the commodities editor and the only credible face on the Indian media for all the commodities. Manisha is an expert on price and policy measures for India and global commodities. Manisha leads the commodity coverage on CNBC TV 18, CNBC Awaaz, and occasionally in Gujarati on CNBC Bazaar. Let's have a round of applause for Miss Manisha Gupta. Let's have a detailed conversation between Miss Manisha and Mr. Santosh Kumar Sarangi.
At the outset, Mr. Sarangi, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. And the conversation or the note that you made from the podium was absolutely enlightening. 2 points that I take away. One is that the banks soon can be members of IIBX in the sense that they can start trading gold, buying and selling and hedging as well. I think that is really amazing. And
RBI is still working on this.
you said it would. You said it could come in 2 days. I mean, that is.
No, not 2 days. Couple of days, I said.
Couple of days.
Couple of days doesn't mean 2 days.
Really? When did that change? If you can take that mic, please. Okay. So, no, it's not. Yeah, you'll have to move it the other way. What is the
So I
definition
said
of couple of days?
yesterday the finance minister took a very elaborate meeting. So there are issues which I described during my meeting of exposing banks to these kind of trading because they haven't been doing it. When they are declared as a nominated agency, they are working on a zero risk principle where the entire risk is being taken by the jewelers themselves who are placing the indent with the banks. But operating as a trading member would entail a bit of risk management on the part of the banks. Our banks have done pretty well in risk management in foreign exchanges, which is again a financial instrument. But handling risk management in gold trading is something which is not innate to the banks. They haven't developed the capability and capacity for that. So these are issues which will have to be tackled. So I think days will be a little ambitious, but in a couple of fortnights or months, RBI is working with the banks as to how to address these kind of handicaps which banks right now have, and hopefully they'll be able to put forth guidelines which will streamline and ensure that the bankers are able to participate in future. So don't go back with an impression that it will be done with 2 days.
So it comes with the job. We keep pushing for days and numbers, etc. Even if it's not couple of days, you said couple of fortnights, couple of months. Even that is ambitious. Can we see that happen during this time?
Well, it will have to be done in a graded manner. Uh, as long as IIBX is able to provide a platform where banks are able to do it on a is equal to 0 basis, then they can start sooner. But doing it on a T plus 2, T plus 3, T plus 20, T plus 30 days would require them to have higher risk management capability. So that, uh, so so how do they this phasing and all is something on which RBI, the banks and all are working on this.
All right. IIBX already does T plus 0, so I'm assuming that that should start working on that. The other thing that you talked about was the consignment at or around 10 lakhs that also can be exported now. What are the e-commerce, using e-commerce, yes. Is that already being done? How much is the quantity, rather, how much penetration have you seen on that one?
We haven't seen very high penetration. When it comes to GGIPC, they always demand for an enhancement of this. So we have requested them to get back on us as to how many are reaching that 10 lakh limit. So once they come back to us with some examples that these are people who have hit this 10 lakh ceiling, then we'll be happy to increase it. But as of now, we haven't seen people hitting that limit.
I will quickly come to on what happened yesterday, and we totally missed you then because there were many questions which basically were relating to you, which I will actually try to reproduce. I can see some faces who were there during that time as well, but just to take those questions first, and then of course we can go back to audience as well. It was about small exporters, the availability of gold, and the problems when it is less than a kg. There have been conversations. I'm sure you're aware of this issue as well. What is the department's thinking on this? On allowing lower quantity to the smaller exporters?
I mean, anybody who wants whatever quantity should be made available. But what are the mechanisms in place for doing it is an issue. When banks act as nominated agencies, they are basically aggregating the demand from a wide range of stakeholders and placing an indent, and the risk in this for the bank is virtually zero. Whatever is the date on which they place the indent, whatever is the rate, they pass on to the consumer. So as of now, as I pointed out, it would require a deep pocket for people to hold on to gold for a certain period of time and then distribute it to a highly fragmented market where demand could be coming from Cochin, from Chennai, from Kolkata, from Guwahati. So having that distribution network, having vaults and facilities which will ensure quick delivery of products, and having that deep pocket to withhold gold for certain time is something on which there is no Indian entity which has done specialization now. There are banks like Nova Scotia, banks like JP Morgan Chase, which have developed those kind of mechanism for holding onto the gold and delivering it at an assigned point. So we need to build that capacity over a period of time. So maybe one of the banks in India will have to be matching Nova Scotia and JP Morgan Chase in future.
All right, I'm sure there are some banks, and I hope they're listening to that as well. Okay.
Are there some banks here? From?
Karur Vasya.
Karur. Okay. Oh, good. Good. So let's hope Karur Bank is able to take the lead in this.
Still can't hear.
Definitely, sir. I mean, on behalf of all other banks, I would definitely tell you that this is something which is there on the cards of all the banks. And as you rightly pointed out, there are, I mean, in terms of, see, to put it in one line, I would say, right now, the model which we have been adopting by most of the banks is on consignment basis. Now we're going on to another platform, we would be assuming to take some proprietary positions. So there's a lot of risk management and then capital issues which comes into the place. And what's happening right now is on the consignment model, which has been time tested, which has been going on from a very long time. we are not looking at addressing only the issue of supplies, which is well taken care by the banks now. The issue is about
For you
pricing.
to just a minute, for you to take a proprietary position, is it necessary for an Indian entity, whether it is for IIBX or someone else, to also have rules on forward futures transaction?
Yes, sir, there are the FEMA guidelines also comes into place. There are various other guidelines which comes into place.
So it doesn't allow it, isn't it?
Right now, we are doing it on the from the bank side. Now, the model which has been adopted is we get gold on a consignment basis from the overseas suppliers. We give it to the jewelers here. As and when they are selling it, they're fixing the price on that day. So it's completely hedged. Now, they're not taking any positions as such. So we are trying to, basically what the industry is looking at, having products which is there available in the overseas markets, doing OTC and things like that. So it's a little more complex and needs a lot more discussions and deliberations.
So is it allowed, or is it just because you're comfortable and this is acceptable and you're used to that model?
No, we will have a different mechanism there once it comes into.
For taking a proprietary position, I think there are issues relating to FEMA guideline on which they would like to have directions in future.
That being taken in. The other question that we saw yesterday come in was on duty drawback and the disparity therein. This again came in from almost everybody and especially from smaller exporters.
As far as the duty drawback is concerned, there has been an increase in the recent past for gold and silver both. But disparities, whichever they exist, will have to be taken back to the drawbacks committee. So Kapil had informed me that this was one of the major demands yesterday. So I will urge GJPC and other big jewelers to take it back to the drawbacks committee. I am sure the drawback committee will address this issue in future.
That was said as well. I will also want to take questions from here because, yes.
So good morning. You just mentioned about drawback committee. There's another constituent to it. We sell jewelry on consignment basis, but we are not allowed replenishment on that. Selling to exhibitions is also a consignment-based export. On that it's permitted. So if you can kindly look into it and allow us to get replenishment on goods sold on consignment basis, sir, or exported on consignment basis.
This has been a long-standing demand of GGEPC, and on this we have had a few rounds of conversation with DGEP. So we will carry forward this and see how this can be done. So this is something on which we have not been able to evolve a consensus within the government. So we will, I will request GJPC to give us some more solid facts and circumstances, a forceful argument, which will convince our counterparts in revenue as well.
So also one more question on the same
I will
account.
come to you.
Just one. So we have a value limit for goods sold on exhibitions and through export promotion tour. There's a value limit on that, 5 million and 1 million, and I think we have been demanding it to be increased further, because sorry. Yeah. So it has already come, or is it in the pipeline, sir?
ये क्या है Sabyasachi? I'm not very familiar with this.
Can you explain for me, please? Thank you.
Sir, basically, when you go to exhibitions or export promotion tours abroad, so as per the policy, you are permitted to take in let's say 1 million and 5 million. That is how for export promotion tour till 1 million you can carry by hand and can sell or whatever is abroad, and 5 million is the exhibitions, what you can take by hand and can go abroad for participating in exhibitions. So this limit was fixed some, let's say, some 7 years, 8 years back. So we are telling that after that yes, it is in the FTP. So it has been represented to you, and what I understand is that again it has been taken up with the revenue. They have to be convinced, and that is what is in the pipeline. Sir.
No, on all issues where we have to work with revenue, please give us some forceful examples and arguments. We will do that again. The present DGP head
Yes, sir.
was also working as DC of SEEBS.
Yes, sir.
So she is more familiar with issues relating to gold and diamond segment.
Yes.
So hopefully we'll be able to make a more forceful argument before her. So do come back to us with a little more examples and situations where this should be done and why this should be done.
Yes, sir.
Can we also have the mic passed on here? We have a question here as well.
Yeah, I am Vijay Kumar from Manapuram Jewellers Limited, sir. Sir, it's very good that you have created IIBX in the GIFT City, and we are also a member of the IIBX. But why do you prefer, why we should prefer IIBX instead of we are getting a GML from the bank?
Nobody is preferring IIBX. IIBX is just trying to facilitate as a platform
Yes.
where buying and selling of gold becomes easier.
Yeah. See, in
We
IIBX,
have not taken away the nominated status of banks just because IIBX is there. So there are alternative platforms which are available. Whatever is being done in IIBX is just to smoothen and ensure that IIBX is also able to be functioning in a very efficient manner, where you don't have to go to Dubai or Switzerland.
that is understood,
To
sir.
buy
But
and
my
sell
question
gold.
is, in IIBX we have to invest on that, but in the GML the investment part is less, no? So what is the answer for that?
No, for registering yourself as a jeweler, do you have to make an investment in IIBX?
Yeah, IIBX I have to put my money and buy the gold, no? But in GML I can give a collateral and I get the a metal from them, no? It's a GML is gold metal loan. Yes.
No, I am not fully familiar with these arrangements. I am happy for Sabyasachi to elaborate on this in future, not right now. But for IIBX is just a platform right now, so you are allowed to be directly importing. Like
Yeah, yeah.
today, if you want to import gold, you will have to go to a nominated agency. You can't directly import gold. But in IIBX, once you are registered as a qualified jeweler, you can place an order and buy. So to that extent, it is only working as a platform. But as more and more entities join as trading members there, they will be able to offer you these kind of instruments like GML and all. Right now, there are like banks and all don't have trading members right in IIBX. So that is something which will happen in future as and when the RBI is able to sort out many of the regulatory issues. That is what I was explaining in my speech.
Yeah.
But that will take some time.
Yeah, I understood. You said that banks are we are relating to. So
Correct. So
Alright.
that will take some time.
because of this
RBI needs
GML,
to
you
sort
can-
out these regulatory issues.
because of this GML, see, we are buying almost 300 to 400 kg in GML itself. So when we want to switch off to IIBX, we are not
Naturally. For
made to do that.
for offering different kind of instruments which are available like GML, you need to have more trading members empaneled with IIBX.
Please do the arrangement as early as possible, sir.
This is not in my hand. This is one of the top regulators of the country which will have to do it. That is for RBI. But they have started working, so this is a work in progress. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. We'll take a couple of questions more if they're okay with that. Yes, please.
I will like to bring to the kind notice of panelists the typical problem faced by MSME exporters. We are thankful to the government and the Prime Minister of India for putting special thrust on MSME, but the MSME exporters are facing logistic problems. Our first request is that it can be solved by one simple thing, that we should get at genuine international prices the metal, which is our 90% of the raw material. If we get at international prices, now if we get from nominated agency, there are two hurdles for MSME. Number one, the quantity. Their minimum quantity is 1 kg for gold and almost 300 kg of silver, which is impossible for MSME operator to utilize that. Secondly, the margin. I am talking about the cost involved by the nominated agency, which includes premium, is 1 to 3% of the cost of metal. Whereas our value addition, which is listed in the policy, is 3.5 to 7%. So how is it viable to pay even 1% when the value addition is 3.5% for plain jewelry and 7% for studded? And unfortunately for MSME, when we go to sell abroad, they put our policy across and say, this is what your policy specify, how much you want to charge. So we are handicapped everywhere. So my request is that to achieve the target which the government has set up for jewelry sector to double, it could be even more than that once we start getting the metal, which is the 90% of the input cost, at genuine international prices. We should be able to get it almost at MCX. The logistic costs involved, which are being charged by nominated agencies, are too high presently. So they are not viable, and they say they don't get enough demand for that. So the only route left is drawback, and drawback is never up to the mark. There also you have a loss of 1 to 2%. So I mean, it is almost a jinx situation where you cannot enhance your performance. So if to execute the Honorable Prime Minister's vision and to take forward the increase in quantum of exports the way it is expected by the government, let us remove these hurdles. And
Thank
also
you.
we have problem, we are not allowed to get metal. Our suppliers are willing to give us metal even in small quantities at duty free. They say you give a bond, and also in nominated agencies ask for deposit of duty beforehand, which should be accepted as a guarantee from the bank. Then only MSME will be able to proceed forward. Unfortunately, presently, in the present circumstances, I doubt we can achieve the target which is being set by the government. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As I pointed out earlier, banks only act as an aggregator of the demand from a very fragmented market, and to that extent their ability to give in very small quantities is probably limited. So there have been, I mean, they'll get bullion which is at a minimum of 1 kg, and below that, breaking that into sub 1 kg for MSMEs has been a challenge for many of the banks. So we need more agencies, which was being done. This kind of function was being done by MMTC earlier, but MMTC is out of operation. So maybe MMTC, PAMP and others could think of providing this kind of a mechanism in future. As far as duty is concerned and for all issues related to IGCR, I can see Anant in the audience. Anant is our Director Custom and he is the key driver of all these issues. So he will be more than happy to address some of the questions on the duty as well as IGCR related issues. But he has a very positive mindset and you can freely shoot off all your questions at him on this. You have a session with him. Good.
All right. I think we'll take one final question.
Chalo,
and we'll let you
Anant,
know.
I am
Sir,
leaving that one for
here,
you.
Here, can you give this mic here?
Provide for at international prices. The government has to do something, and I have a proposal. You have a cess on import duty, and that cess be utilized for defraying the logistic cost for supplying the metal to the MSME exporters.
What is the issue at not getting it at international rate? What is preventing
Because
it?
the logistic cost charges are too high. They are 1 to 3%. I have explained it. So,
So
they
logistic
are,
cost is high because of the network of distribution which the distributor will have to.
but sir, at,
set up.
at international market, we have to quote our value addition on top of the actual international prices. All the exporters are sitting, you can ask them.
I think that question has been said, which we will address. We have one more last final question, sir. So then.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for coming. This is regarding post-export. When we finish the export requirement and the payment is yet to come, we would request that the bank guarantee that has been given to the nominated agency to cover the duty and the GST element be replaced by a LUT for star exporters to start with, so that our bank guarantees are not held up and it can be used for further exports.
I'll again leave this for Anant to answer. and if it can be substituted with an LUT instead of a bank guarantee. But some of the AEOs and for star export houses, this could be an option which could be explored. So, Anant, please address this during your session.
All right, Mrs. Arangi, we'll let you go at that. Thank you so much. I had a couple of questions, but I'm glad that some of you who had raised these questions yesterday were also here available, and thank you for so sportingly taking them. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Manisha Gupta, and thank you so much, Mr. Santosh Kumar Sarangi, for a great session. I hope all your questions were answered. And now let's move on to the next segment of the day.